And we say Sitaram to your listeners on Radio Jaagriti, 102.7 FM, our viewers on TV Jaagriti. Hey, those of you joining us home here in Trinidad and Tobago, regionally, internationally as well. Welcome to a special edition of Conversations right here on your number one radio and TV Jaagriti. Of course, at this time, you're accustomed to the program Straight Talk with our CEO, Mr. Lokesh Maharaj. But as we promised you last week, as we promised you on a Monday, when we had no program, we have a special guest with us in the studio, and we're having a special edition of the program, Straight Talk. Of course, we've got with us Professor Peter Baofu with us in studio. Sitaram, and welcome to Radio and TV Jaagriti.
Thank you.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about Peter Baofu.
Well, I am an American author and visionary. I have written more than 160 books in all fields of knowledge, in the social sciences, in the humanities, in the formal sciences, and in the humanities. And I try to propose more than 128 different new theories and visions about the human future in relation to the mind, nature, culture, and society. Ultimately, for some unified theories of everything, not just one, but several of them. And I have been in more than 100 different countries around the world. And I do that intentionally in order to understand humanity on the ground, not just by reading a documentary or watching a film and all that.
So we're privileged and happy that you're sharing some time with us, that we can discuss a little bit about the topics that pertain to Trinidad in particular, but Trinidad in relation to the world as well. Yeah, we want to talk a little bit about crime, about politics, about education, about health, and as if I may, Peter mentioned to me earlier on, we can talk about anything, right? 126 new theories. How did this come about?
Well, there's a long story. To cut the story short, ever since I was a little kid, I was interested in everything. And even when I was a little kid, I was always thinking to understand humanity, the future, civilization, and the universe. Of course, at that time, I did not understand much of anything, but the joy was there. So I have been very active, and I have been very, very consumptive in terms of acquiring knowledge. So over the years, I have been expanding, and I always try to understand everything. And I don't like to focus on one thing, but look at the totality of all forms of knowledge. And that's why 160 books so far, they are in all fields of knowledge, in the natural sciences, the social sciences, the humanities, and the formal sciences, and for this reason.
I'm seeing a term here as a polymath. He is known for his pioneering works in all fields of knowledge with different visions in regard to the following future evolutions and transformations. For those who may be coming across this term for the first time, a polymath, what is that?
A polymath, by definition, like poly are multiple, they are not just uni or mono. It is a person, this kind of people do not exist anymore. I mean, there are not too many of them. Because we are in the age of professional specialization. Everyone is supposed to specialize in something. But the trade-off for that is that people don't look at the totality. And you don't have too many people anymore who are willing to look at the totality. And we need those people, just as we need the specialists.
Because then you can combine all disciplines into understanding totally, a holistic understanding of the entire microcosm of everything?
Because many of the problems that we have nowadays on Earth, not just in Trinidad, in a way they are global, they are linked in a multiple ways. If you focus on one dimension, let's say economics from the standpoint of only economics, then you will miss a large other perspectives which interact together with many other things.
Okay. You know, you're speaking about interaction with all the disciplines, let's say economics and politics, economics and health, economics and wealth, economics and crime. How easy is it to understand how all of these things mesh together in this world?
The answer is no. It's not easy at all. That's why when I talk about, as you just mentioned, economics and politics,
Yeah.
it's too simplistic. I don't look into economics and politics. I look at economics and political science, sociology, chemistry, physics, cosmology, biology, psychology,
Okay.
linguistics, philosophy, dancing, music. You might say this has absolutely nothing to do with economics.
Yeah.
No, that is ignorant. And that is very unfortunate because I make a lot of predictions in my publication about the future. That's why I just propose some theories, but also some new visions.
Okay.
And in the future, and we are moving toward that direction. But in the farther future, the kind of mindset that we are evolving to is not the human anymore in the end, because this kind of thinking, in a way, is very human-centric. I propose one of my visions about the human future, by the way, is what I call post-humanity, in the sense that humans like you and me will not exist anymore. They will become extinct. And one of the major reasons for that is because the kind of mindset that we have, this is a good example, we think only in a small box.
Yeah.
But many of the problems that we are facing nowadays are getting larger and larger and larger. And we come to realize eventually that all of these are linked together. And the human mind, the ordinary human mind especially, is not able to cope with this.
Okay.
But we are moving toward the direction of the post-human mind.
Okay. That's what we post-human mind after humans tend to exist.
Yes,
Yeah.
just like the dinosaurs, they became extinct many years ago.
What happens to humans, or what happens after humans cease existence?
And that's why I have written more than 160 books and 128 new theories and visions. There's no one single answer. See, this is a human tendency again. There's a human tendency for thousands of years now. People like to think. They like to propose a new vision, a new theory, and they use that to explain everything else.
Yeah.
There's kind of human obsession. I often mention this to many other people. There are so many other examples. You have someone like Karl Marx. That's Marxism.
Yeah.
You have Adam Smith. That is his notion of capitalism. You have Sigmund Freud. His notion of psychoanalysis. You have Buddhism. There's Buddha. You have Christianity. Jesus Christ and the Bible. And that each of them will give you one dimension of thinking, one vision, one theory, and they will use that to explain everything else. It doesn't work that way. The post-human mind is getting away from it because this kind of thinking, in a way, is understandable, but they are very primitive. This kind of thinking, because it's based on the limitation of the human mind, and it's also as a legacy of the human past, which was very ignorant and superstitious. So, but we are moving more and more away from it. In the post-human future, many of the things that we have nowadays, you talk about Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, capitalism, democracy, all this kind of one-dimensional thinking. No.
Professor, we're quickly out of time. It certainly was a pleasure having you here. And as you can tell, listeners and viewers, there's so much that we can talk about and certainly keep going on and on and on. I've got an extensive list here that I can just pull any topic from, and Professor would be able to elaborate on it. But once again, thank you very much for joining us and sharing this hour with us here on Radio and TV Jaagriti.
Okay, thank you very much for the invitation.
So here's where we wrap up this special edition of the program, Conversations, right here on your number one Radio and TV Jaagriti. News at 5 is up next.